Growing up, I believe that the way to express God's love is through sexuality. So as children, as you learn to brush your teeth, we learned to have sex. We lived in big communities that were closed. We didn't have access to the outside world. Since a small girl, I learned that anything that was outside of our community was of the devil, was really bad. The Children of God, and it started with a man called David Brentberg. He had a lot of darkness inside him. As women, the way that we can express our love is to serve men, which represent God, our bodies and our sexuality. I remember until today reading and seeing pictures of women naked on a cross saying, sacrifice yourself for the love of God and for the people around you. So I learned about it and I understood that maybe one day I would have to do it. It was very interesting to me growing up and listening to all of these things because that's all I knew. A lot of the women and mothers truly believed that they were bringing their children into the best possible environment. I truly believed that the children were being very well cared for because a lot of the times the women were not taking care of their own children. They were always with uncles and aunties. And many of the abuses that I lived were always in a very quiet, don't say, don't tell anyone, oh, it's nap time, now it's time, to rest. Nothing was done with aggression. Everything was done in the name of love. Let me show God's love to you. I'm loving you. So it was really hard to identify that what they were doing was bad. I always looked at men and the uncles of the community as danger, as I want to be as far away as I can from them. I always had a very questioning mind and I always got a lot of spankings for that. We had like a spanking room that I was always in and out of. I got so much spankings that my whole legs was bruised, and I remember going to my mom and saying, is this love? Because they would spank us and say, this is God's love. I was born into a structure where even my faith, even the only thing I could run to believe in was the abuser. Even Jesus desired me as a woman. I finally got to a point in my life where I needed a way out. I desperately said, you know what? If the outside world is a terrible place, if God is gonna judge me and kill me and I'm gonna go to hell, I really don't care. I left the cult when I was 13 years old. Opening the window and jumping out from that closed home that we were in. I jumped from house to house, especially ex-members, people that had left already and had their little homes. They would accept me and I would jump from place to place that were people that had left the community. So it felt familiar, but at the same time, I still had to interact with people from the outside world. They would talk about television series or, just normal things that were happening in Brazil, and I had no idea. I was literally felt like an alien in this world, that I couldn't connect to anything that people were talking about. So I think that feeling began to make me feel like I don't belong anywhere. I thought, I knew I didn't belong in the cult anymore. I didn't want to be there anymore, but also society, I didn't feel welcomed. I didn't feel like I was part of it. At 15, I experienced a rape in one of the houses that I was staying at, and I felt, okay, now I have no hope. And I just felt like I want to check out. I'm done. I tried suicide many times, and it was a very dark moment of my life. I was 15 years old and, I had gone through pain in the community. I left the community, and it was in that moment where I called up my mom and finally understood that she had found the strength to get out of the community. She had, she was able to leave and I was able to come home. And that feeling of, okay, now we can start again. We can begin to construct a new life and I'm not alone in this. And I think from that day on, I felt like my life wasn't in vain, and that yes, I had a lot of baggages of pain, but I also did have something special in me that could help me heal all that pain and also help me help others. For many years, having to understand that what had happened was something wrong took me a long time to link the dots to say, no, this was rape, no, this was abuse, before I couldn't even identify that that was rape and that was abuse. I started to receive emails and messages. So many women had gone through experiences of abuse and rape that never had the courage to actually talk about it. And I felt this is something huge, not only here in Brazil, but everywhere. So I decided to open up my ONG, where we began to create an awareness and a platform where we can share it with each other. The more that we can open up and feel like we're a family, we're in this together, it gives you a sense of, I'm okay, I'll be okay. You know, I don't have to go through this alone.
Realizing that you spent your life living to the pleasures of some perverted, manipulative, megalomaniac leader. So it was sad. But at the same time, I mean, what happens, happens. The best I can do is learn from it.
She's been my dearest friend. I'm so happy for her, for all the things she has achieved and what she's doing to help other people.
Most of us were never able to express that, never able to say it to anyone.
She's helping so many people who've been through so much.
I think it's the best thing she can do.
It's really important, this process of breaking the silence so that we can start our healing path, and that there's nothing shameful about your story. We all have ours.
Nowadays, I can truly talk about it and just own up, yes, this is where I've been, this is where I grew up.
It is my story, it is my truth.